I had my phone interview for the Disney College program this morning at scheduled for 9 a.m. and she called before 9 a.m. I believe she called at like 8. Let's see. 8:45. I thought it was earlier than that actually. Call it 8:45. I was sitting like ready, and I was listening to I Can Go the Distance, and I was just like getting in the zone, taking some deep breaths, and then my phone rang, and I was like, shit! And then, because I wasn't expecting her to call me at 8:45, I was thinking maybe 8:50 or 8:55, but 8:45, that was just caught me off guard. But anyway, as you can tell, I'm kind of upbeat, so it went pretty well, I think, actually. I had a spiral notebook with 3 pages of notes, things that I wanted to make sure that I said, and then questions, and like that I wanted to ask, and then a huge space for her name so I could write it down, because they like that when you say their name. And so anyway, I didn't use any of it except for to read the questions that I had for her at the end of the interview. But it was just nice to have it there. It was like a security blanket. Just knowing that if words stopped coming out of my mouth, I could look over and then I could just read. And so it was nice having that. I would recommend that to people who haven't had their phone interview yet, or people who are interested in the Disney College program. So my interview was 20 minutes and 38 seconds, or 39 seconds, can't remember which. And she basically, excuse me, drinking some Coke. She asked me about, like, the program and how, if I was still, she was like, are you still interested in the program? And I was like, yes. I wouldn't have answered the phone if I was not interested. But I really just said, yeah, of course I am. And I put on my nice, happy, nice people voice. And she asked me like a series of questions just about the program. Then she asked me, her name was Christine. She asked me about a couple things, like how I would work in a group or by myself or whatever, that I could tell she was asking him right off the web-based interview, and then she was checking my answers to make sure they were, along the same lines. Because obviously, if you ask people something at one time, they're going to answer it differently. And so I think they do that just to make sure that you were being pretty truthful. And so I just realized that about an hour and a half ago, that that's what she was probably doing. And then we talked about the roles, and my role spread was pretty even. I had high interest, moderate interest, and no interest. I had several of each, and so we talked about that and what would my favorite ones be, and they kind of changed from my web-based interview to my actual phone interview. And so we talked about that. And so my top 3, for those of you who don't know, are attractions. And she asked me about what I would do to keep a repetitive, or for a repetitive task, to keep it interesting. And so I put my input on that. I mean, my job is a repetitive task, pretty much. I do the same thing for the whole time. And so then I said, which brings me into my number 2 choice, which would be quick service food and beverage. And some people are like, oh, why would you want that? Well, I work in fast food. I've worked in fast food for the past 6 months, and it's not my favorite thing in the world to do, but I'm comfortable. I know what I'm doing for the most part. Well, yeah, I know what I'm doing. And so that's like, I would be comfortable in that spot. I feel like I would catch on really quickly. But at the same time, it's my number 2 because I kind of want something new. I mean, who want, like, I would I would take any role that they gave me, but the I would love to do attractions because it's something new. It's not something that I've ever experienced before, that kind of thing, and so I just wanted something new. And then my third choice was retail and merchandise because I know how to work a cash register. I have a good memory, so I can remember things about things. So yeah, and it was just that I was debating what to put in my third spot, and I didn't really know, but then I decided to do retail because I'd be fine with that. I mean, I would be bigger possibility of me being inside in the air conditioning, which would be pretty darn cool. And I think it would be a great experience. So she talked about how there's no guarantee that I'll get from my top three, or if I'm offered a role, it could be anything. I said my low interest were like custodial, housekeeping, like lifeguard. I mean, it'd be cool to be a lifeguard, but and something else, or maybe two other things. But she said, you could be offered a position in anything, and I said that's fine. I would accept any role that they gave me. Like, really, I would. So yeah, and then after that, she talked about how she talked about the rooming situation. She talked about how I would be living with anywhere between 3 and I think it was 7 other people. I said I'd be fine with that. As many of you know, I live alone currently. Well, I mean, kind of. I live in a house by myself, but my aunt and uncle live 50 feet away from me. So I'm kind of missing that freshman year college dorm, which I really wish I was experiencing. And so, for a multitude of reasons. So I feel like if I get into the program, which I hope I will, then the housing situation, it would kind of take the place of that for this year, and that would make me happy. And then she asked me about how I would resolve a conflict between roommates, and actually somebody inboxed me this on my Tumblr, this exact question, and I wrote it down. I didn't use exactly what she said. I didn't want to plagiarize or copy. I thought of something along the same lines but different, and I basically said, well, if we get in a disagreement in the first week or so, I think it would be good to lay down get to know each other, lay down some rules and such, to know what we're comfortable with, and just make compromises. And so hopefully roommate disputes like that would be fewer and far between, or wouldn't happen at all. And then it was time for me to ask questions, I think. Oh, then she almost forgot to ask me about the Disney look. She's like, oh yeah, one more thing. Do you have any tattoos? And I said, nope, which I don't. So she almost forgot about that. And then the questions I had for her were, whether it was an opinion, whether she thought it would be a good idea for me to drive my scooter, or to bring my scooter down there, or actually up there, for the program. And she said, well, it's your choice, but it's a really touristy area. A lot of people around there, including me for the first month or so, aren't familiar with the area. And so, people are driving not the best that they would had they been in the regular neighborhood. And so, if I get into the program, then I'm not sure that I'll bring my scooter. And she told me about the bus system, which I already knew, which I think that's a fantastic thing, the bus thing. And hopefully, maybe one of my roommates would bring a car or something like that. That'd be super duper. And then my second question was about, like, if you're watching this and you're into the Disney College program, a lot of people they want to end up working at Disney, and I'm not there yet. I've got my own career goals, what I want to do with my life, and so I wanted to ask a question about relating to my major and what I want to do. And so a lot of people do the networking with industries, or like not industries, the category of their job, like, or major, general. They want to like meet with people who are in a Disney cast member in that field, kind of. And so I talked about the Nemo and Friends attraction, which has like it's like an aquarium, like a little aquarium, and I wanted to I asked her if it would be possible for me to meet with the people who behind the scenes run that, like keep the fish, alive, and just run that part of the attraction, because that would be something I would be interested in doing, like in a professional internship. Once I graduate college, I would love to do that. If that was even a possibility, I would do that. Then she said, yeah, like once you get to Disney, the possibilities are endless with what you can do in networking. And so I really thought about, I really liked what she said. And I had trouble thinking of that question, but I was chatting with someone, and I was thinking something along those lines, but she kind of helped me phrase it, and I wasn't really aware of the Nemo and Friends exhibit. I was thinking more Animal Kingdom, but she mentioned the Nemo and Friends attraction, and so, I did my research, and I thought, hey, I got a question, I'm gonna ask her. And then my third question was about school. It's not really I'm sure I could look this up online in 5 minutes, but it was, how many classes do people usually take? And that was just to make her feel like I was interested. I wanted to, do the school component of the program. And she said 1 to 2, and that's what I would do. I would do 1 or 2 classes. And I did not know this, but apparently they vary depending on which semester you're in. So that's kind of cool. Or not cool. Either way you look at it. So yeah, we're at 13 minutes now. Sorry guys, this is a long one, but that was basically my interview. In the beginning she asked about my work experience too. Sorry, I totally forgot about that. I told her about Chick-fil-A and the Tivoli Theater, and how Chick-fil-A's standard of service is similar to Disney's, and then, blah, 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 blah. And apparently she said her favorite fast food is Chick-fil-A, which may or may not be true. And then she said that she has been to Dunedin several times, which also may or may not be true. Dunedin is the city where I live. So, yeah. She was really nice. I was, like, if you've seen one of my other vlogs, I was, like, really nervous that I was going to get, some guy who hated his job, a woman who hated her job, just, like, sitting at the desk cringing after every word I said, and that was not the case at all. She was very nice. She made me feel really comfortable. And some tips I would give are smile, because it actually changes your voice. I wasn't smiling in the beginning, but then once we actually got to talking and started relating, then I was smiling just naturally, and my tone perked up, and I could hear myself sounding a lot better. So you're going to want to smile, and just don't be nervous. I know 12 hours ago, or 15 hours ago, not more than 15, 18 hours ago, I was in your position, freaking out 12 hours before my phone interview. What the hell am I going to do? I'm so nervous. And then you get past it, and it's just like weight off your shoulders, and it's great. But anyway, that's my vlog for today. I'll probably get you another one on Friday. We'll see, though. Hope you guys have a great day, and if you got any questions for me, you can message me or whatever. I'd love to answer them, or just get to know you guys.